Well, hello, it is Friday the 14th of March. We are 15 minutes late again. Oops.
Always.
As always, this is what happens when you have three dogs. You try to walk out the door and you get one that's deciding that they just want to cry all the time because obviously she's got separation anxiety and she has to get used to being on her own at times. So, yes, that is the reason why we're late today. What did you say, Pamela?
She's at home today.
Could you look at the camera and say what you just said?
And she's at home today.
Yeah, so all of the dogs are at home today, which is a good thing. So anyway, I'm going to get the shutter up and get started. See what today brings. So here I am in my natural habitat. What you set up just slightly off camera. There we go. I'm obviously in the middle of sharpening. I have done roughly about 15 pairs so far. I will get you the time in 2 seconds. It's 1:05 now, so while I'm doing this I thought I would just have a wee chat with you. The amount of people that don't know what grind they should be on is quite interesting. We've had people coming in earlier on asking for sharpenings, asking for a 1/2 inch, which is, it used to be the base model sharpening. And what I mean by the base model sharpening is, you would usually find that most people would ask for a 1/2. The reason for that is because it's not too sharp, it gives quite good glide, but it's still on the sharper side. It depends obviously where you're from in the world. Over here we tend to find that we like a slightly sharper skate, and say for example your sharpenings, the ice is harder over here as well for whatever reason. In America and Canada, people will be able to tell me in the comment section. I mean, I've been an ice tech before in previous iterations of work, and our ice is usually anywhere between -9.5 to -10. Now, usually find that what that means is the ice is very, very hard. It's usually curling ice that we skate on. The reason being is all of the rinks usually are multi-purpose. It's not just ice hockey on its own. But we have had a couple of issues with rinks recently who have been running in temporary plants, and their plant was set at -12 and it was returning at 10.5. So there was a 2 degree variance there of loss of temperature. But I know that's kind of digressing, but we tend to find that most of the rinks over here are really, really hard. And you usually find you have to go slightly deeper when it comes to your grind. But I suppose it also comes down to your angle of attack. And what I mean with your angle of attack is how much you can go over on your skate edges. If you can go over on skate edges and you're in a 1/2 inch and you're still finding you've got good grip, then that's really, really good. It just shows that your ankles are slightly stronger. But if you go into like a really, really, really stiff skate and then you can't go over, it means that you tend to find that you compensate by going slightly sharper. So I have another 1, 2, 3, 4 pairs of skates to do, and then I'll come back and see you in a little while. So it's now 2:47 in the afternoon. That's the first I've been off the machine today. It's been very, very consistent with sharpenings, which has been quite good. So I'm grabbing a little 5 minutes to get my lunch, and then we'll see what the rest of the day brings. How's your day been?
Busy.
You been up to much?
You ate a bit of sausage in the morning.
No comment.
Lots of customers in. I've had lots of inquiries. I've had a few figure skate sizes, and obviously dealing with William for a new set of shorts. So yes.
And I had these rockered to do.
Snapped a steel, didn't I?
Yeah, but he had these spare steels that he wanted rockered, and he had a spare set of steels and he wanted them rockered and shape changed on them. He wanted them really aggressively rockered, but I wouldn't do the really aggressive rocker. I tried to leave as much in the middle of the blade as possible and just done the toe and heel. Which means that obviously when he comes on to get his skate sharpened, it means that I can just literally sharpen between 2 set points, probably 2 inches in from either end, and sharpen that, and then obviously do a finishing pass over the toe and heel, because it means that obviously it gives a wee bit more longevity out your steel. But other than that, it's been very quiet for me, other than just the fact that I haven't really spoken to anybody. I've literally been on the skate sharpening machine the whole time, so hopefully there'll be more stuff to talk about. I have done one other job. I'll catch in with Pamela first and then I'll show you the other job. But is that you? Have you got anything else to say?
No, that was my day.
Right.
All summarised.
Okay, right, so just quickly, the other day when I was in, or in the previous video, I was showing the fact that this stick never had a heel on it. So now we can see that the stick has a heel on it. Obviously it looks pretty rough because I haven't varnished over the top of it or painted it with anything, but it has been done. It's just enough to get the player by, so that they don't have to buy another stick this weekend. They can maybe get it next weekend or next month. Just depends, obviously. We're trying to help people as much as we can. Anyway, right, lunchtime. Hey, so what are you doing?
Don't know, what are you doing?
Talking to you. What are you doing?
Talking to you.
So would you like to tell the customers, or tell not just the customers, the viewers at home, the situation today that you had with figure skate?
So we had a lovely customer in and we were joking about leather and laughing and whatever and talking about the models and stuff, and she said, I said something about the deer flies and she went, yeah, but they take 9 months to come here. I was like, thank you so much for saying that, because not many customers get it. And she laughed and she went, yeah. And obviously I went on to say I did ask my supplier what problems were. There aren't actually any problems, they just can't make them fast enough. So that's what the problem is. They're too popular.
They're too popular.
So, yeah.
So one of the things that we were also going to talk about is see, since the dreaded coronavirus that was around, things are taking a lot longer to get here.
Yep.
They just are. It's just how things are. Before, how long did it used to take? Usually, if you were getting a back order.
So if you're getting a back order from CCM, it would be like 4 weeks, maybe 5. 4 to 5 weeks. Now it's like 6 to 7.
Or even longer than
Or
that
even
at
longer.
times. There's a lot of stuff that the UK suppliers just don't keep in stock anymore, and because of the shipping costs for containers and stuff like that is costing a hell of a lot more, and because of that they're cutting down how many times that they actually order throughout the year, because just to save them money.
They also so they'll shop about, when we talk about our back orders from Europe, it's not us that deal with it, obviously. It's our suppliers that deal with it, and they will ship in their products so many times a year, whether that's 3 times a year, 4 times a year.
Yep.
Normally during the summer is the most hotspot time where the massive deliveries come in, and they'll come in multiple pallets on a container. You're talking 30, anywhere between 25 and 30 pallets of product in a container, and the container obviously goes by ship around the world. And because the containers have went from costing like 3.5-4 grand to 30 grand, 35 grand.
Well, originally when we first started, it was like maybe anywhere between £500 to maybe £1,000, and now it's up to
it's like
crazy money.
Yeah, crazy money to take a container, and then obviously it goes on the ships, and the ships go, it's like a bus stop, it's not just straight to the UK they go. They'll have different docks, different stuff that has to be offloaded and unloaded, and then it'll go on a route, I assume.
Yeah.
So sometimes, it's something, and then obviously you have the crap with the Panama Canal.
Oh, that was easy
Canal?
for you to say.
So obviously, when we talk about it being on the water, it's in a ship. It's being shipped, but we've got no control over how long that takes. Things like weather affects it, when things get stuck in canals affects it, when the world locks down connects it.
Then you've got that whole aspect of customers who are impatient. We understand the whole aspect of you've paid your money, you're looking for your products and stuff like that, but at times when we can't get them and it is taking a wee bit longer, I mean, I've got good friends of mine that have ordered through us and have had to wait for months because their product just isn't available at the moment, and now it's come into stock again. We are now in a waiting list to get them, so it's one of these situations where it doesn't really pay to be our friend that way. It doesn't make any difference. You're still going to have to wait for your product. I don't mean that as it doesn't pay to be our friend. Obviously there's benefits of being our friends, just look at us. But the whole aspect of having to wait for your stuff, even myself, I mean, how long have I been waiting for another pair of skates for?
Oh, I don't know, long enough.
No, but seriously,
Well, you were originally going to go for the XF Pros, but they don't have a 10 and a, they don't have a wide in your size.
A 9.5 wide.
9.5 wide. So we've never been able to get a 9.5 wide for you. So they were quickly scrapped. that we couldn't get them for you. So we decided that's when you got the Trues, and they worked out really well, the TF9s, but then they broke down really quickly. We went back into the M5 Pros because they were a 9.5 wide, and then they broke down, so then we had to look to see. And we're not a stockist of True. We're not buying the Trues professionally, we're buying them personally. Stephen's buying them as a customer for him to wear them. So he's now in the hazardous. Are you in the hazardous yet?
No, I'm still not.
Eventually.
I'm still looking for bolts for the holders.
And then we also have asked our very lovely friends at Graph Warrior and Graph, to order him a pair of the Ultra Cs, which is the next pair of skates you're going to try.
Which will be another set of holders.
Which will be another set of holders, but we'll deal with that later. But they're obviously, we're waiting on more stock coming in, and that'll be in a few-ish weeks' time. Whenever that comes in, there's no massive rush. You've got the hazardous just now. So, I think another thing that has impacted the availability of products in the UK is also cost of living. And when we talk about the suppliers, so we've cut the stock down that we're holding in store because the products are more expensive for us to buy to be able to store, that you're not actually getting the cash flow back for, because it's dead stock, it's lying on your shelf. And then we've seen the suppliers be very similar, so instead of stocking 3 different width fittings in all the ranges, they're maybe only stocking regular and some sizes in wide, or we're not seeing all of the products, all of the sizes be available, or if they are, it's in low numbers, so they go out of stock really quickly, and then they've got to wait the 6 weeks for them to come in from Europe, so on and so forth. So I get why they're doing that. I completely understand, I completely sympathise. It's just we're doing it on a smaller scale than what they are. And then of course you throw the other curveball into the mix in when we left Brexit. When we left Europe, the suppliers were in the VAT agreement protection from Europe, which meant that importing was a wee bit easier. It didn't need to lie at customs, it didn't need to be approved, VAT and export didn't need to be paid every time something came in. It just came and went, and there was a free flow of product and people. Now we have to go, everything has to go via customs, and it can lie for a week, it can lie for a month, it can lie for however long it takes for it to clear customs, and it's out with our control.
All you need to do is look at the skates that I sent back to the supplier. And
the retailer that you bought them.
Yeah, the retailer that I bought them from. I tried to send them back, and it cost me £30-40 to send them back, and then they sat at customs for 8 weeks.
And they boomeranged back to you.
And then they came back, and I thought, I can't wait for any longer. I'm just going to heat mould them. So
made them fit.
And made them fit.
So yeah, they're the things that just affects the market moving around.
The big things as well is there's a lot of stuff does come in and go out of stock really, really quickly. I mean, you think about even like the simple things like leg tape and stick tape. Leg tape and stick tape come in and out of stock all the time. And
it was a product that never went out of stock before.
Yeah.
It was always available. Before COVID it was always available, but it's a heavy product. Weight obviously impacts shipping costs and, bulk, area, space and containers affects the price of how much it is to ship it. Things like pucks, tape, it's a heavy product to ship. It costs money to ship a pallet of tape. So they're not going to ship it in as high a quantity as they used to ship it because it costs more money. So they're going to bring it in lower quantities. So for example, we had ordered a box of wide black and a box of wide white, which we were waiting on, and they're out of stock. So they've had to be back ordered. So basically we go on a waiting list, we call it a waiting list. And it's on the system so that when that product comes into the manufacturer, it goes with our next order. So that's when we talk about back order. It's basically pre-assigned to us that when it comes in, it's picked with our next order and it goes to our next order. And that happens a lot more than it used to.
Yeah, we're finding that with everything.
Neck guards, that's another thing. We had the pro neck guards in for a while there. We couldn't get the seniors, but we could get the juniors. Then we got the juniors in, now we can't get the juniors, we can get the seniors. They're obviously churning over in high quantities that the supplier can't keep them in. for any periods of time, mainly because we're having to now kit out adults, and adults are awful good at losing stuff. So
Yeah, well, what you need to do is look at my team. There's been about, I think I've had about 9 net guards in a small amount of time,
we keep borrowing them.
and they've all disappeared into the ether.
Yep.
And I've had to borrow one of Sam's, or sorry, it was technically Sarah's, and I've had to alter Sarah's to make it work, which is technically illegal, but hey, it works for me.
The hard that's kind of kit up. MD needing a youth kits in the loft.
It's not, he sold it a couple
Oh,
of
so
times.
did I? Oh, I did. Forgot.
There is Sammy's old stuff, like his shorts and his full shoulders, and he's still using the same elbows though.
Yeah, he's
and
doing
gloves.
elbows and stuff like that. But
Said he's getting right into it just now.
yeah, he's needing new skates, but I'm hoping to eke him out to the end of the summer because he'll no doubt jump up a shoe size. So
His skates still fit him quite well.
they're fine.
But anyway, other than that, so it's the apologies about the kind of rant and the kind of look for the hunt for content just now. I'm going to go and tape a stick. I think that's it. That's my excitement for today so far, other than Sharpman's.
We've got some admin to do, which isn't exciting, I'm afraid.
Yeah, so right, we'll come back
Really
and see
boring.
you in a little while. Hopefully we'll have a wee bit more stuff to do. If there is any more Sharpmans, I might actually throw in a time lapse, but then again I might not, because I've been trying my hardest not to put time lapses in. But saying that, if I was a time lapse today, you would have probably found there would have been about 10 minutes of video, which would have
There'd be time lapse because it was all Sharpman's this morning.
Yeah.
It was just quite busy. Right up till 3 o'clock.
It's good to see it still being so busy at this time of year. Usually it starts to kind of get a little bit quieter, but hopefully that's not how would I put it?
Hopefully it's a sign of the summer that
Yeah.
it wasn't as quiet as last year. It really died a death last year.
I'm hoping that it's going to be busier this year through the summer.
Well, not last, but last summer was really busy. And we were quite shocked at how busy it was. There was very little downtime.
Yeah, very consistent.
Very consistent last summer, and now, not last summer but the summer before, last summer was for 6 weeks dire, like totally dire.
But we've also got to remember now that we've got two additional shops in Scotland now, and obviously we've still got Eric with his place, so that's now 4 shops trying to kind of
Scramble about for the summer sales.
yeah. But that's what happens in business.
Yep.
Still here so far, so we need to try and keep moving forward.
One foot in front of the other.
Yes.
Don't know where we're going, but we'll get there.
Hopefully we're going somewhere instead of just walking on a treadmill.
Well, it's 5:43 and that's tonight's shift finished, or today's shift finished. We were in the middle of having a big, long conversation, and we had a couple of customers come in and say hello, and we were talking about some random things. And one of the most randomest things that's came up in the last couple of days is there's a skate brand that's due to come back, and they're looking for a new UK distributor at the moment. And it's a brand that I have actually worn before many moons ago when I was a size 7. That was a long time ago. It's actually Doused. So Doused are actually looking at coming back with a 701 skate, being their top end skate, and they're obviously talking about having like a range of skates as well. I'm not exactly 100% sure of the pricing structure on these yet. It just depends obviously who's going to take them over UK distributor wise. At the moment you have some main distributors. You have Bauer UK, obviously, who are Puck Stop. You've obviously got CCM, which is 60/30. You've obviously got Blue Line, who are Warrior, Sherwood, Blade Master, Graph as well, or Graph Hockey specifically, and you've also got New English, which is Rysport, Adia, stuff like that. So anyway, these are the kind of suppliers, and these are the distributors. Hopefully get Doused again, which will be quite interesting, because for a long time it's only really been CCM and Bauer that were available in the UK. Obviously you can get True and you can pick them up through different channels and supply channels or networks or different stores or different countries and stuff like that. But mostly there isn't a UK distributor for any of these, other than obviously for like CCM and Bauer. But it'll be good to see some other skate brands going back into the market. It's very interesting as well, because I actually said in a previous video, or that we were talking about the one with the one that shocked Scott. Now we were talking about Gretzky's being on Performa blades.
Well, it's funny because when we had a little research, the Dow skates are going to have a performer blade, and they're also having SLM holders. Now, SLM holders have been obsolete and gone for a long time. They were very prevalent back in the early 80s, 90s when, say for example, you had like the early model Bowers or the early model CCMs. SLM holders actually used to come on the skates, so it's good to see some old names coming back into the hockey fold. But anyway, for tonight, that's us finished. I'll try and come back to you on this one with a wee bit more information. I'm going to do a wee bit of digging, see if we can find out who the new UK distributor is going to be. Good afternoon. It is 2:31 on Saturday the 15th of March. It is very quiet this weekend. We have had multiple sharpenings in. I say it's very quiet, but we've had multiple sharpenings in. The reason why it's so quiet this weekend is there's a tournament down in Dumfries. So most of our regular skaters and hockey players have been down there this weekend. I think there's the Warriors or the local teams, the Blackhawks. I'm not sure who else, but I know that two of the main teams are gone down there to play in that tournament. You can step in any time and give me a hand.
You're doing very well.
So, what have you been up to this weekend or today so far? This Saturday.
So far. Well, we've had lots of customers in consistently for the last couple of hours, so I've been serving them, dealing with them. A couple of inquiries. We've had a holder request from Lee. He's going to have to replace his holders.
So this is one of the ones we were talking about in previous videos about how there's a certain brand of skate that the holders aren't fitted properly. Well, this one is exactly the same, but this is a lower model skate, a slightly lower model skate than the M5 Pro, and the steels are consistently breaking. So it's time to replace the holder because the holder has went so soft that you can actually pinch and squeeze and bend the holder, which the skate isn't that old, but it's the holders obviously, because it's an old style took, shall you say, it's not going to be the best for Lee because that's him now through 4 or 5 sets of steels. It's not that he's a bad skater, he's a good skater. He takes a lot of pucks on his stick, he doesn't take them off his feet, but for whatever reason the steels are just going, the holder's just too soft, and I think personally it's causing that to break, causing the steels to break. So we've decided that we're going to look at maybe trying to see if we can get him a set of fly holders in so we can get them upgraded from the old took to the fly holder, because it being a slightly stiffer holder might actually find that the steels will not break as much. But that's the thought process behind it, and the only reason why we're going for the fly holder is because he has 2.5 sets of steels, or 1.5 sets of steels that are the new fly style. He's just bought himself the fly TIs, and he had a set of the flies originally, so the fly steel. So we originally said to him that he would probably be better going on to a CCM holder and a CCM steel because it's a slightly better steel. It doesn't necessarily need to be a CCM steel, it could have been a JRZ, it could have been a step steel along with the holders, but the holders are very expensive, so we've decided to go with the fly ones instead because he's already got the steels for it. That's today. It's going to be very quiet. Like I say, we don't really like it when it's really quiet. Yeah.
I've got some admin to do though, so that gives me some, as much as it's quiet for customers, I'll still be busy. Still got loads of stuff to get through, so get this all semi-organised for the beginning of the week, which should maybe get me off to a good start.
So we can only apologise that this one hasn't exactly been the best of videos. It's just, like I say, we said it would be totally 100% honest with you guys when there's working and when there's not working. There is some stuff to do. I still have
rusty helmet to start.
Yeah, well, that's a different story, but we'll show you that. I'll talk about that one in a little minute. So I have still got a profile still to be done on the custom graphs that you've seen on the previous video. They have to be taken out, the steels have to be taken out the skate, and they have to be profiled at the toe. They're looking for a little bit more glide. The thing is though, with regards to these skates, the customer in question has been skating on something that's been excessively rockered before. Not by myself, it's just over time. It's one of these ones where he's in a pair of, I think it's like a pair of MX3s or a pair of 170s Bowers, and the steel is so rockered that the steels that he's going to be going into in the graphs are going to be there or thereabouts shape-wise at the front, but nowhere near at the back. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of work on them just to try and make sure that he's got something to step on the ice with. It's not going to be just a case of sharpening them and sending him on his way. He's going to struggle with these, I think. But at the same point, I would rather he skated in them first, just to make sure that they were right before I start taking steel off, because it's a very, very difficult steel to get a hold of. And when I say that, I mean the Graf Cobra holder steels. They are like hen's teeth, you can't find them anywhere. They are just not making enough of them. We've had quite a lot of skaters that skate in Graf skates in the last little while that have had to change to either a Took or a CCM holder. I suppose that's where the new style holders are coming into fruition with Graf, with the Tooks and on the high model skate. So Pam made a comment about my rusty helmet. Keep it clean. So here is the helmet in question that we're talking about. It's an old CCM bucket. I would imagine it was one of the 10.52s or something very, very similar. As we can see, it's very, very rusted here, and all the bolts are rusted. Now, the customer in question has not played hockey in a long time, but has decided he wants to keep that helmet. And because of the rules that are in Scottish recreational ice hockey, you must wear a half visor. So because you have to wear a half visor, we are in the process of fitting a second-hand visor to his helmet, because he doesn't want to get a very expensive one. So this is the job. I'm going to have to try and see if I can get these rusty bolts off, so I can actually fit the visor to the helmet. Now this will be a massive, massive adjustment to the player. The reason being is he's not played in a long time, and the last time he played he didn't need a half visor, so this will be fun. Let's see if we can get this done. This is going to be a nightmare. So now that I've shown Pamela my rusty helmet, exactly, we're going back now to have a little conversation. So Pam and I have, you can hear Holly's got separation anxiety. I'm literally in the same room as her, but she's still crying to try and get out. Unfortunately, we've had to bring the pups to the store today, because obviously we're out tonight, so they have to have some human interaction. So unfortunately, they've been a bit of a nightmare. I am literally not getting to sleep because of them for the last little while, because one decides that she wants to go to her bed, which is fine, and the other one wants to stay up the entire night. So we were having a conversation yesterday, and it turns out that there is a new skate brand on the market. I say a new brand, but it's an old brand, and it's a brand that I'd skated in years and years and years ago, and it's going to be doused. So apparently they are in the process of looking for a UK distributor at the moment, which means that they're looking for someone to stock their stuff in the UK to make it more accessible for everyone to be able to purchase. Which then technically means that you will find that most stores will probably end up stocking doused skates as well. From my understanding and from a picture that I've seen, the 701 skate is going to be coming out. Now, the last I heard, it was a 501 or a doused gold 555, and the 701 skate looks very, very, very similar to something in like a Bauer Supreme. It's like the old Bauer Supreme. It's got the old style felt tongue, but it looks as if it's got a very stiff quarter package like the Supreme skates. Pamela and I were originally going to be talking about it, but I was hoping that Pamela would bring it up on the computer so that we could actually show you that they now have a website. Again, this is a situation where we actually don't have any affiliation to Doused at the moment. We don't have any, how would I put it, we don't have a sales agreement with them at the moment, but it's good to see that this name is coming back into fruition again. The company Doused has been a company since 1981. And obviously 1891. So there we go. As we can see here, this is their new website, but their new website is dousedhockey.com, and obviously you're seeing the 301s, which are going to be like, I would imagine, an entry level skate. Now what I spoke about earlier on, this little logo here is an SLM holder, or an SLM steel. Now SLMs used to be on all of the skates, like the likes of Bauer's, CCM's, Doused, way back in the day. And it's something that I'm finding now with the likes of the Doused coming back into fruition, they're using a lot of the old names for stuff. So Doused is a very old name in ice hockey. Not only is it an old name, the SLM holders, the SLM steels is an old name, and they're also they've changed the holder to a Perfecta holder. It used to be a Perfecta steel that you used to be able to get. Like I said earlier on in the video, it's probably been the Perfecta steels that Gretzky used to use. And when I say about the Perfecta steels, the first part of the steel is normal sized, and then it gets very, very narrow towards the heel, and it allows for better glide and better grip. And it means that you're actually not having to go sharp on your skate as well, just for the simple reason that there's less surface area. If you have a 3mm steel and you get your skates sharpened at a quarter on them, you wouldn't have to go at a quarter on a 4mm steel, because the 4mm steel is actually technically wider, and the quarter you would feel that was a lot sharper than the previous 3mm steel, if that makes any sense to you. But I mean, if you look at some of the steels and the skates,
Hi boys!
this is what they used to look like back in the day, old school. Well, it is 5:34 in Saturday's afternoon. It has been a very, very quiet day, although I have said it's been very consistent with the skate sharpenings and stuff like that, and a couple of repairs. It's genuinely been very, very quiet, although Pamela has been kind of busy with customers and figure skate customers and
A kit deal
a kit deal just at the end as well. Other than that, it's been very, very quiet. I'm just going to quickly take you through and let you see just what I managed to get done with the Rusty helmet. The Rusty helmet now has a visor on it. It didn't go according to plan, but it's now fixed to an extent, as you'll probably be able to see if I can get it round. There we go. I've had to put a spacer in behind because the bolts were, when I was trying to take it out, it hit up and melted slightly, and I managed to take the bolts out because the holes are very, very old and the plastic is very, very brittle. So it was genuinely just a little bit of heat that was given to the area. And what I mean was, when I was using a drill, I was trying to drill out the actual bolts themselves. I actually then ended up having to take it to the cross grind and then try and cross grind the head off the bolts as well, and then they eventually fell out with a little bit of plastic attached to them. So because of that, I've had to do that just now, just for the customer to get by with. He has said he's going to get another helmet, but at the moment this will do him. It's still in place, still works at the moment. So realistically, if I'm being 100% honest with you, the sell-by date in that helmet would have been probably somewhere in the region of maybe at least 20 to 25 years ago, because it is a very, very old lid. Not only is it a very, very old lid, they have stopped making that style of helmet years and years and years ago, to the point where I think it was always the helmet style that I wanted to get when I was younger, because I had a Cooper HG 2000 or 4000 or something like that, the one with the clips at the side, with my first helmet, and then I moved to one of them ones. But anyway, that's it finished for today. Unfortunately, it has been quite a crappy vlog, but it's just one of these things. Again, we did say that we would be honest and open about everything and anything. So yes, not exactly the busiest of days, but hopefully next week brings a little bit more customers and a little bit more work to do. So until then, take it easy guys.